Okay, so here's the plan. Doing okay on time. You know, who are we as a community? As we look at this moving Mooresville forward, which is a cross-functional plan, kind of looking at the overarching South Iredell area. We're a destination for economic growth by creating a climate that grows businesses. We want to keep the ones that we have here and make sure that we're good partners for them. Cultivate entrepreneurship, which is sometimes tough to get our arms around. We all like startup companies, and it seems fun and fresh and exciting to get a lot of startups, but there's some stewardship that we need to have as a community to support those entrepreneurs. World-class workforce. We all want great workers, but how do we do that? There's some paths that we need to take, which we'll talk about in the plan. Enhance quality of life. That's always kind of a big, squishy, fuzzy kind of thing. We all want a great quality of life, but how does that translate into our civic duties here? And we'll hit that. And then, collaborating with the greater Charlotte region. We are kind of part of the Charlotte community, but yet with our own unique assets of the historic downtown and the lakeside. So that's our vision. So what are we working on? We took the plan, again, and it's a very comprehensive, about a 60-page plan. If you boil it down, there's really 5 strategic objectives that we want to go out and work on. And the reason I'm here in the formation of this committee is to create independent, kind of I don't want to say nonpartisan, but basically folks that can look at this and help coordinate between the different groups, whether they're government agencies, public, private, and kind of hold us as a community accountable for delivering this plan over the next 5 years. So it is a 5-year plan. We're not going to get this all done by January, but by 2017, our hope is we can look back and have a similar presentation with a lot of the great stuff that's been accomplished. So to unpack these a little bit, which this gets into some of the detail about what's going on in town. So this is really the Economic Development Corporation's, or Robbie's, goals in growing the local economy and tax base, looking at new business recruitment and existing business retention. I think it's important we don't forget about the great employers we have here in our quest for looking at new business. It's important to both. I think the things on this map that you look at, the red circles are what we've defined in this plan moving forward as our future employment areas. So that would be up at exit 38, or a proposed new exit 38, and at exit 31 Langtree area are the 2 areas that we can see additional economic development going on in that area. Other things we want to look at is the potential for a catalyst fund to provide financing for infrastructure development. We need to develop a better understanding as to what that is and how we can facilitate a place for our new employers to call us home. And then our targeted businesses, if you look at what the EDC is working on, it's advanced manufacturing, which can be motorsports and automotive, aerospace, defense, marine, headquarters, back office locations, and industrial. And I'd say appropriate industrial that meets our community background. So that's really what the EDC is working on, and we'll be defining that as we start putting some teeth to this plan in the future. The second objective is small business enterprise. So what does that mean? Really creating an environment that embraces entrepreneurship. We want to get appropriate resources that can enhance the success of somebody in our region that wants to start a new business. And there's been a rapid growth of incubators, which is kind of a funny word for businesses, but it's basically a facility that entrepreneurs can come in and get resources, whether it's business planning help, connections to accountants, legal resources, and other things to help them be successful and to make sure that they get off the ground on the right step. There's the National Business Incubators Association, which is a very prominent and well-defined group that helps communities like ourselves leverage the assets that we have to encourage entrepreneurship and business startup. We want to be a place for those companies to come and start their business. So we'll be working on defining what that means over the next 5 years. Workforce development. This is kind of tough. You know, when you talk to the Economic Development Corporation and HR managers at some of the larger corporations, we have a high unemployment rate, but yet at the same time we have a lot of open jobs. So we've got a mismatch in some cases of worker skill set to open available jobs. So we need to do a better job as a community developing a workforce for jobs that are in demand. So it's really going to be a collaboration, 3-way between employer, what do you need, between the educational institutions, how can we get a curriculum to educate these workers, and then the employee to get them ramped up so that when we have an organization that comes in, we've got a trained workforce ready to take those jobs. And we've got some great institutions, whether it's the Iredell Statesville Schools or the Mooresville Graded School District, Mitchell, NASCAR Tech. We've got a lot of resources that I don't, in some cases, feel we're aligned properly to be hitting that bullseye. Transportation planning, here's, again, some nuts and bolts of what we're recommending that we should work on. First of all is investigating how do we plan for an interchange at Cornelius Road, which would be exit 38 theoretically. We've talked about the 36th Diverging Diamond, which has been in the media over the past few months, looking at how do we widen I-77 from exit 23 up to exit 42 or maybe even up to I-40 as we get this population growth. Again, think of 80,000 people commuting in and out of South Iredell County. There's a lot of movement for us on our road systems. 150 widening west of Morrison Plantation. So I think with some of the development that is planned, whether it's the Sam's Club or some of the other activities, should help facilitate some of that pretty quickly, I think, in terms of widening there. East-west connector, looking at how do we get traffic flow between Langtree and to Dale Earnhardt Highway on NC3. Looking at that, and then all the other potential initiatives for transportation. So these are some of the key things that that group will be working on, making sure we're moving forward there. And last is quality of life and business climate, is how do we engage the citizens to enhance the quality of life through our town? And what does that mean, really? Well, one is, we need to take probably the next year and create a team that looks at our current land use plan, our transportation plan, our recreation plan, our capital improvement plan. These are all things that all need to work together so that we can attract and keep businesses, keep our citizens happy, and utility service plans as this growth occurs. How do we manage that and recommend to the commissioners how we feel is an appropriate way to help manage that. Code enforcement has been another thing that's been brought up. We want to have a good first impression, and maybe we need to tighten up some of the codes to make sure that we're enforcing that better, to make sure we have a good first impression and visual appeal. And then continuing to support the rejuvenation of downtown. And then I think the unique thing, because it's a big challenge for us because of the lakeside and historical side, but we really don't want to pick sides. We're not about sides, we're about one community with some phenomenal resources where you get the best of both. You can be on the lake, but you've got a beautiful historic downtown. And how do we celebrate those elements as we move forward? And I think the town's efforts with Lake Norman High School here tonight and recognizing them is a small but great example on, hey, we're one town with a lot of great assets. So, moving forward, here's the game plan. I've been appointed, so I'm here as the executive director, looking to put a team, a committee together to help manage each of these initiatives and work with the different functions of the town, be it both public and private, and we report to the citizens, holding ourselves accountable, so giving reports out to the community, being very transparent and open on how we're doing, how we're not doing. I'm not sure what the frequency of the reporting is going to be, but it could be probably as frequent as every quarter, maybe as infrequent as once a year. I think that's probably not enough. That one quarter might be too much. We'll get a feel for how much we need to be communicating. But this is a group for and about the citizens. So not to sound too much like a corporation here, but we have some open positions. So we're out soliciting for helpers and directors to lead each of these groups. So we have one position filled, and that was a good one because Robert Carney's already doing a great job on the EDC, so he's got our green box there. But we have other positions open. I'm not going to read this slide, but basically tomorrow and on the website there's job descriptions for each of those open spots, and then we'll be talking to people over the course of the summer, and we'll have this committee form in the fall, and then really working with all of you, whether it's the Downtown Commission, the EDC, the Chamber of Commerce, the town, kind of holding us accountable for getting this plan rolling so that we can see these initiatives take root and take a proactive play at that. So with that, there's my new email address. We're open for business and looking forward to moving Mooresville forward.
Jeff, I just want to thank you. It's a phenomenal undertaking, and for your dedication, commitment, and taking just jumping right in and really putting some structure behind this initiative to to really move it forward. So with that, I'm going to open it to commissioners for any comments or questions. Commissioners? Commissioner Herring?
Looking at your transportation initiatives there, I currently sit on the Lake Norman Regional Transportation Commission. Commissioner Dusenberry represents us on the district level for transportation. There is an ongoing, fast-moving conversation about adding hot lanes to get up to exit 33 or 36. A discussion of moving other projects on the district level to widen 7740. If you could get your recommendations to both the Lake Norman Regional Transportation Commission, Bill Funberg, so that he can pump that forward to the MUMPO level, or for the, if that's part of the plan, if we can get that incorporated, as well as on the district level for transportation, perhaps your voice added to some others will give some reason to expedite some of these projects.
Right, okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll get on that as well. And Bill has been certainly involved on the transportation side as well, so okay.
Additional comments or questions? Thank you so much, Mr. Steiner. We appreciate your leadership and your willingness to serve in this capacity. It is a voluntary position, non-paid, and we really commend your commitment to the community. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Anybody else?
See you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.